Investigator Flores, good afternoon. My name is Max Shard. I represent Shannon Stillwell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Seems like we got 3 different dates to talk about. March 14th,
14.
March 16th, March 17th.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to go from one to the other to stay organized here.
All right, I got you.
Let's start with the last one first, March 17th.
Okay.
Okay? That was the day that my client, Mr. Stillwell, you said Mr. Jackson, we're talking about the same person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the day he was arrested on warrants for the March 14th homicide, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you talked about, you talked about people were following or pursuing the car to this address that you responded to. Were you part of the pursuit?
No.
Okay. The car that was located on Meadowlark Drive, where Mr. Stillwell was arrested, was a white Audi, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The same white Audi that was present on March 16th,
Correct.
and the same white Audi that he is alleged to have used in a horrible crime on March 14th, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, you indicated that you found a book bag with drugs or narcotics in them, correct?
Correct.
And that was in some bushes at that Meadowlark Drive address, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Present at the address was Mr. Stillwell, but also another individual by the name of Cormarvius Nichols, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you see who had control of that book bag?
No.
Okay. Are you aware that, do you know what Atlanta Phoenix, APD Phoenix is?
Yes.
That's helicopters, correct?
Yeah.
That can follow pursuit.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware if APD Phoenix, let me ask you this, do they record from the air?
Yes.
Are you aware if APD Phoenix caught on video who discarded the book bag full of narcotics into the bushes?
Yes.
Okay. Was it Mr. Stillwell?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Your understanding is that Mr. Nichols was also in the Audi on the way to that Meadowlark Drive address, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And it would certainly be illegal for Mr. Nichols or Mr. Stillwell, for that matter, to be in possession of narcotics in a book bag, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Was Mr. Stillwell charged with those narcotics?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Don't worry if you miss court. I'm going to take an 8-hour live to an almost 30-minute short. I got you. It was crazy before the jurors even got in there. SHARDT was up there beating on his chest because it seemed like we was going ahead for a mistrial with prejudice because of this little thing right here.
Know if we have all the jurors or not. I haven't checked yet, but anything we need to put on the record before we get the jury out?
Your Honor, good morning.
Good morning.
My understanding is that Mr. Sumlin is on the state's agenda this morning at some point.
He's back on today, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay. Is he coming at all?
Yep. Yes, he's coming.
Next week?
Yeah.
So, in preparation of him coming today, I reviewed his statement that he gave to Investigator Viverito and other law enforcement investigator J.P. Miller. And my understanding is the state is going to ask him questions based on things that he has personal knowledge of, and I understand that that's out there for potential impeachment. My concern, and I'm just making sure we're all on the same page. Investigator Viverito asked him to speculate about a lot of things, why certain things would have happened. He makes it clear that he was locked up during the Donovan Thomas murder. He knows nothing about it. He also makes it clear that he does not know about the Jamal Drinks murder, and he's just, kind of speculating about why this would happen. There's a lot of talk. How much would Jeffrey have paid them? Why, the hypotheticals. Why would Shannon have done this? And the reality is, Mr. Sumlin has no firsthand knowledge of who did what. He's just kind of going off the cuff in this interview. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that none of that is, nothing that he is speculating or just kind of hypothesizing about that he does not have first-hand knowledge of will be inquired about.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
We will be making inquiries into, we will be laying proper foundations, and we will be making inquiries into areas that we believe he has knowledge of. If we will not improperly ask a question that we've not laid a foundation for him having knowledge of. That's what we can say. I don't think it's proper for counsel for the defense to attempt to curtail our direct examination based on what he believes a witness has knowledge of.
Okay, well, I don't mean to curtail anything, but if the state brings out things that he does not have first-hand knowledge of and it's improper, I'm going to be moving for a mistrial with prejudice, and we all know that now.
Yeah, okay. So I would think that, y'all, do I have I don't know if I've got a copy of the interview or not, but y'all could get together and see if you all can agree on what's clearly not within his knowledge and what might be, and then we could potentially litigate that beforehand on Friday.
We could do that. We could.
We do have a copy of it, Your Honor. It's in that 30 witness.
Okay.
In his folder.
And, Your Honor, we could definitely get together and talk about things that we believe or one party believes he does or does not have direct knowledge of. But again, given the way that the interviews have gone and the examinations have gone, I don't, again, think it's proper to prematurely try and curtail certain things. I believe that
It is absolutely proper to try to make an evidentiary determination beforehand on things that would be objectionable.
I don't disagree with what the court is saying. I'm saying that if we seek to, or if we establish a foundation for his knowledge of certain things that the defense does not believe he has knowledge of, I believe that curtailing our ability to make that foundation would not.
I don't think that's what he's asking.
Well, that's not what he's asking. Okay.
Yeah. Wild. So I ain't gonna hold you. It's seeming more and more like the trial is going to end in the beginning week of January or the last week of December. No court tomorrow, but we'll probably drop the Rollo interview tomorrow. Or, yeah, I think we'll probably just end up dropping a Rollo interview. I got a ton of reading that I had to do for y'all, exclusively for y'all. Exclusive, baby. But, man, oh, man, oh, man. So, today was all about the Shamel Drinks Mida. In the Shamel Drinks Mida, I had to put that phone on Do Not Disturb, we had the examiner come through and essentially say he got hit in the arm and he got hit in the neck and basically bled out there, and it went through the car door. And then it got interesting because we started to see Santa Claus return, who Miss Abassi destroyed last time we seen for being a lazy freaking detective. And you know what I say all the time, pattern of behavior. So what we had essentially was other detectives come in and talk about it, and we had the Hertz Riddle lady come through and all this stuff and everything like that. And essentially, it got interesting because when the examination was happening, I ain't gonna lie, it was looking bad. It was looking real bad. They were able to point out, hey, these cats was at the gas station. These cats was right there near them. These cats was boom right there near the vehicle by the time that it all got said and got done. But one of the things that people forgot in that chat, and I even forgot myself, the family came out and vehemently said, Shannon, Miles Farley, and Marquavius Nichols did not do this. Now, my family, a lot of them are, shall I say, street savvy and all this stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe Shamel Drink's family is street savvy and all this stuff. To the point his girlfriend came in to identify who he was and all of this stuff. And so you had that. And then you had him going with some dude named Barter, and they go to the store. And that's the last time she's seen him, unfortunately. And that's the messed up part about being a woman. When you got a dude, they might not end up making it back home. That's just the reality of it. And that's what some of these ladies who deal with quote-unquote tough guys, not saying that Shamel Drakes was a gangbanger or a tough guy, because we hadn't seen that. No gang investigator that I seen said Shamel Drakes was a part of If Gang or anything like that. And then we got to the point where it got interesting, because we seen in the video everybody was in the same area at one point in time. Now, if you are in these streets and you are a part of that thuggy life, if you see an op at the gas station, the op gets it at the gas station. Y'all seen when DK came up, pump faking, like he was going to do something, like he was waiting on that double dutch, and then didn't bust a thing, wouldn't pop a pimple. And then down the street decided they was going to shoot something up, and then he stitched on his homie. Got him 50 years. But that's neither here nor there. What ends up happening then is FedEx sent a picture of these cats being side by side. Let me tell y'all something. When I tell you a slow roast is a good roast, you had that man Max Sharp, aka Max Sharp, aka Super Saiyan Sharp, go in. What a freaking masterpiece that he pulled off today. It was an A+ because what he was doing in the beginning was showing, hey, there was no friction here. Hey, they were just chilling. If there was really problems, he was breaking down weed. He wasn't even tripping on little buddy. He wasn't doing none of that. That these dudes had no friction before. So for him to just ride up to the side of him and shoot him made zero sense. So the way that Matt Sharp laid it out, I'll give you the clues. He established there was no problems at the store when they initially met. He established that your man's been shot at a couple of times, so he would have ran if he would have felt it was dangerous. He put them tents on that car because they try to make a big deal out of it. The freaking cop gonna say out of his mouth, yeah, people put tents on their cars before they go out and go shoot. What? What type of dummies do that? You steal the car, homie. You don't do none of that stuff. Then he was able to basically put it in words that if he really did do all this crap, why the hell would he extend the rental? It just doesn't make sense. But I can't lay it out as eloquently as our man SHARDT.
Reason why someone would rent a car.
I don't see why not. Sure.
Could that be a reason why someone would repeatedly rent cars for years, switch them up, so people couldn't track him down and kill him?
Objection.
Could that be a reason?
Assuming fake evidence.
Overruled.
Could that be a reason?
Sure.
How about an individual whose friends had just been gunned down 3 days prior? Could you envision a situation where that individual would want to rent a car so no one knows what he's driving?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
Yes.
Okay, and tinted windows. You said tinted windows can be used to commit crimes because you can't see in as well. Could conceal an identity.
That's correct. That's what I said, yes.
By that same logic, couldn't tinted windows keep people who are trying to kill you off of your scent, off of knowing what you're driving?
Yes.
Especially 3 days after they have murdered 2 of your friends in cold blood?
Sure.
Could that be another reason why someone would rent a car?
Yes.
Could that be a reason why someone would rent a car and break a rental agreement and put tint on those windows?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. This warrant that you took out, sir, for the rest of Mr. Stillwell, you charged him with murder, the murder of Shamel Drinks, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you specifically charged him with the shooting of Shamel Drinks, correct?
I'd have to look at the wording, but I think he used the word partaking.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
We're looking at a copy of the warrant that you took out. Assist you in remembering the wording.
Sure.
Grab the wrong one. Got it.
Thank you.
Yes, And just refresh your recollection, and if, after your recollection is refreshed, if you could look up.
Sure. Yes.
Okay, and in fairness, you did say participate.
Yes.
In the warrant, but you said by shooting Shamel Drinks,
That's correct.
okay, on 3/14/2022.
That's correct.
Okay, so specifically, your allegation in that warrant is that Mr. Stillwell was the shooter of Shamel Drinks, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we've talked about some of the evidence that you think you have on this case. You know, let's just call it what it is. I know that we've been referring to the man in the pink hat, okay, or the man with the slime or die shirt. You have BP video from the corner of Windsor and Fulton Street, correct?
Yes.
Clear video.
It's very good, yeah.
And it shows my client wearing a Pink Floyd hoodie and a pink hat. And it shows Mr. Guamarvius Nichols, correct?
Yes.
And it shows Mr. Miles Farley, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And you had that video, and then you also have these rental records of renting the car on that day. Now, let me ask you this. Is there any indication at all, if we're talking about planning something, is there any indication at all that anyone would have known that Shamel Drinks was going to show up at the gas station at that time?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Okay, do you know where Shamel Drinks was coming from?
No.
Okay. And then you have video from the FedEx, correct?
I do.
Okay, and that shows Windsor Street.
Yes.
And you maintain that that video shows that my client in his white Audi pulled up next to Shamel Drinks' car.
Yes.
And you maintain that that video shows that my client shot Shamel Drinks.
Participated, yes.
Okay. I mean, your theory is that my client was driving,
Yes.
okay? And your theory is that the shot was fired out of the driver's side of the car.
Oh, the Audi, yes.
Yeah. Your theory is that Shannon Stillwell was in that white Audi and shot Shamel Drinks at that stoplight.
Yes.
And your contention is that video, that FedEx video, will back that up, ultimately.
That's my conclusion from my investigation, yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back to where this investigation started. Evening of 3/14/22.
Okay.
Okay? And you see this red car with this gentleman inside who's sadly deceased, correct?
Yes.
And you arrived before the body was removed, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Now, this is your crime scene. I know that you weren't the first one there, were you?
No.
Okay, but this is your crime scene.
Yes.
So you're in charge of knowing the status of the crime scene and where everything was at the time it was first discovered.
Ultimately, yes, I am.
Okay. So let me ask you. The Nissan Versa, the red Nissan Versa, before anyone came to the assistance, before Mr. Cheeseborough showed up, was that car still on?
When I was there, I don't remember it being running, no.
No, I'm asking, since it's your crime scene, when the first people showed up, to your understanding, it's your investigation.
I wasn't.
Speculation calls for hearsay.
Is he the lead detective?
Excuse me.
Okay, well, overruled on the speculation, and would your report contain all of that?
It doesn't, if the car was on or not. I know the lights were on. As far as the car was running, the door was open when I got there.
That's the next thing I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not
Sounds like he
certain.
didn't know.
So you're not certain. Okay, so the car was running. Or is that what you're not certain of?
Obviously, it was running when he pulled into the stoplight. When I got there, I don't recall if it was running. I know the lights were on, the door was open. I don't recall if the car was still running or not.
When you got there, the
When I
lights
got
of the
there.
car were on and the door was open.
The lights were on.
Right, the lights of the car were on and the door is open. When we say the door, we're talking about the driver's side.
That's correct.
Front door. Okay. Now my question is, before you got there, before anyone got there, was that door open? That front driver's side door to the Versa?
It's my understanding it stayed closed until the paramedics or EMTs opened the door to check on the victim.
Okay. How about Mr. Drinks's feet? Were they on the brake?
I believe they were, yes.
How about the gas? Was 1 foot on the brake and 1 foot on the gas?
I don't recall that.
You don't know, or are you saying no, that's not true?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. And when one of your first tasks was to determine the identity of this gentleman, correct?
It's one of the first things, yes.
Okay, and you weren't the only one there. There were other officers there, correct?
Yes.
And among those officers was representative from the gang unit, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Investigator Flores?
May have been. I don't recall.
Okay. Either way, even with the assistance of the gang unit on scene and all APD resources, no one recognized this gentleman, Mr. Drinks.
He was not officially identified until we did the fingerprint scan.
Right, and that was about 1:06 a.m. that next morning, correct?
It was while we were on scene. I don't know exactly what time it was.
Okay, fair enough. Miss Hilton, if you could do me a favor, please, could you publish, I'm sorry, Mr. Body said he was going to help me. You're going to help me with something else, thank you. 107 Victor. Thank you, Miss Knight. Cell phone, do you see that cell phone in Exhibit 107, Victor Victor?
Is it the one in the pocket there? Is that what that is? Yes, I see it. Oh, that's on his arm. I do, yes. Plug in.
Do you see that cell phone?
I do, yes.
Okay. As an investigator of homicides, do you often collect cellular phones?
Yes,
And that's from victims and suspects, correct?
yes,
Okay, and the reality is, cell phones, if you're able to get into the cell phones and have authorization to get into cell phones, they have a wealth of information, correct?
sometimes I do, yes.
They can have call logs, they can have contacts, correct?
Yes,
They can potentially have tracking information, who you're in contact with, I mean, excuse me, places you've been.
yes,
You can learn a lot about a person from a cell phone, correct?
yes, you can.
You can learn who their friends are,
Yes,
you can learn who their enemies are, potentially.
potentially, yes.
Okay, in this case, as lead investigator, you are aware that actually 2 cell phones belonging to my client have been seized in this case, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And their contents have been extracted, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Now, Mr. Drinks, as lead investigator, did you ask the crime scene tech or crime scene tech Davis or any other individuals to seize or to collect Mr. Drinks' cell phone?
yes,
Okay. And were you ever able to analyze the contents of Mr. Drinks' cell phone?
I don't recall that, no.
Okay, you don't recall ever seeing the contents?
No,
Okay, so as far as you recall, we don't know who is in Mr. Drinks' contacts?
no,
We don't know what he's been texting about leading up to this incident?
no, I'm not aware of it.
Okay. We don't know of anyone that he's had disagreements with or squabbles with or anything like that from his cell phone?
I'm not aware of any of that, no.
Okay, and you're not aware because, not saying that none of that exists in his cell phone, but you just haven't seen the contents of his cell phone?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I want to talk to you about these videos, if that's okay.
Sure.
And Mr. Abate, I'm going to ask you to just be on standby in case I need to publish anything. Thank you. Detective, we have the BP video,
That's correct.
several different camera angles,
That's correct.
okay? Including outside at the pumps, inside the store from different angles.
That's correct.
Okay, we have the Kings Laker video,
Yes,
the surveillance video, and then we have the FedEx video.
that's correct.
Okay, let's talk about the BP video first, and I'm not going to replay all the videos. You see my client, Shannon Stillwell, in the pink hoodie and pink hat, arrive in the white Audi, correct?
Yes,
In the white Audi that was rented in his name,
that's correct.
in the white Audi that he told Investigator Viverito on March 16th, yeah, that's the Audi I'm driving, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and it did have tinted windows, didn't it?
Yes,
All right. You see him arrive at the store, and then you see Mr. Comarvius Nichols arrive in a Ford Fusion shortly thereafter, correct?
yes, sir.
Mr. Nichols pumps gas.
Yes,
Okay. Mr. Farley is an occupant of Mr. Nichols' car, correct?
that's correct.
Okay, they all enter the store. They're on video.
Yes,
Okay. Mr. Farley's wearing a slime or die shirt.
that's correct.
Okay. Do you know anything about Mr. Farley's background or history?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you know that he's a clothing designer?
No idea.
That he creates those shirts, those slime shirts, and sells them to the public?
Okay.
Okay. You were not aware of that before today?
No, sir.
Okay. So you see those 3 individuals go in and out of the store. First, you see Mr. Nichols go up to the register with Mr. Stillwell, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And in these videos, in all these videos, you don't see anyone with a handgun or anything like that.
No, sir.
You don't see anyone that seems to be irate or upset, do you?
No.
Well, maybe some people in the store, but not these 3 individuals.
That's correct, yes.
All right. You see Mr. Nichols make a purchase and buy some gum for Mr. Stillwell, correct?
He bought something for him. I couldn't tell what it was.
Okay.
But yeah, he did.
And this is the first time Mr. Nichols was in the store, before he pumped his gas,
That's
correct?
correct. That's correct.
And you see Mr. Nichols joking around with the clerk, acting like he's pulling out all these bills.
Right.
And then you see Mr. Farley come in.
Yes.
And you see Mr. Stillwell turn around on Mr. Farley and act like a monster and kind of scare Mr. Farley, and Mr. Farley does this weird pirouette.
Right, yes.
They're playing around.
That's correct.
Okay. Everyone seems, from the video, no one seems upset.
No.
Okay. Later on, you see Mr. Nichols come back in the store to make another purchase, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what he purchases?
No.
Okay. Ms. Hilton, I'm going to ask if you could play the video of where Mr. Nichols comes into the store for the second time and makes a purchase. If you could play that. Are you able to see what he is purchasing?
It looked to me to be like some Black and Milds, maybe? I don't
Okay.
know. That's a guess. I don't know.
Okay, appreciate that answer, and I know that it's noted that it's just a guess. And you can stop me. Thank you. Your Honor, may I approach with DS-56?
You may.
Sir, I'm approaching you with what's been marked as DS-56. Do you recognize that image?
Yeah, it's an image from the series of video we just watched.
Okay, that's a still image from the video we just watched?
It appears to be so, yes.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of the video we just watched? Image from the video we just watched?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, at this time, I would move to admit DS-56 into evidence.
No objection.
It's admitted.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Could those be backwoods blunts?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know what backwoods are?
So like a little cigar, isn't it? Something like that.
Okay, is it also something from your experience that can be gutted and used to roll a marijuana blunt?
Yes.
Okay, how long, to your knowledge, if you know, have you ever seen anyone, we'll just say on video, through police, through detective work, have you ever seen anyone roll a marijuana blunt?
I'm aware of how it's done. I've never witnessed it.
Okay, it takes some time, correct?
would
Depending on
say-
how experienced you are?
Yeah, I would assume it would, yes.
Okay, and is this purchase made right before Mr. Nichols returns to his car?
Yes.
When he's sitting there for like 4 minutes as idle, as Ms. Hilton said?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know, yes or no, whether what was going on in that car with Mr. Nichols was Mr. Nichols was sitting there using those backwoods to roll himself a marijuana blunt? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in the entire BP video, we see Shamal Drinks show up, correct?
Yes.
And again, no indication that anyone was expecting him to show up.
No.
Okay. While Shamal Drinks was present at the BP, he walks into the store, correct?
He does.
How many times does he walk in the store? Once or twice?
Just once.
Okay. And he makes a purchase,
Correct.
and there's apparently some other man on the video that's trying to steal some condoms or something, and the clerk is having a problem with him, correct?
Yeah, there's a little
Objection,
kerfuffle.
speculation, so whether he was trying to steal.
I mean,
Okay. So
Sustained.
do you see a man getting into it with the clerk and then suddenly pulling condoms out of his pocket and throwing them back at the cashier?
I remember that interaction. I don't know his condoms, but yeah.
Okay. And then Mr. Drinks has some interaction with that individual, and they leave together out the store.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know who that person is? The person that Mr. Drinks was interacting with?
Do not.
Okay. Have you ever interviewed the clerk about what was going on in the store?
No.
Do you know who the clerk was?
No.
Okay. Throughout the entire time that Mr. Drinks is on the video, and quite frankly, Mr. Stillwell is on the video at the BP, Mr. Farley, or Mr. Nichols, do you see any interaction between Mr. Drinks and any of those three individuals?
No.
Do you see any hostility between Mr. Drinks and those three individuals?
No.
Okay, Mr. Drinks was having some hostility with the clerk, right?
He was observing that, but yes.
Okay. But not with these individuals. You don't see any mean looks or anything, do you?
No.
Okay. So then we go to the King liquor store video.
Gotcha.
Okay? And just to be clear, do you know how we have timestamps on some of these videos and no timestamps on other videos, right?
Yes.
Okay. The videos that have timestamps, and I understand that King Liquor and the BP are under the same management, right? You don't know?
Not privy. It makes sense, but
Okay.
I'm not privy to that.
All right, but do you have any reason to believe that the BP video, the timestamps would match perfectly with the timestamps, or they're perfectly synced up with the FedEx video, for instance?
I don't know.
Okay, and do you have any reason to believe that any of these videos would be perfectly synced up with phone records or anything like that, like records held by Sprint or another phone company?
No.
In your experience as an investigator, businesses that have these surveillance systems, there are times, you can get an hour of footage, but the time on that footage can be off, correct?
It can be, yes. Not set correctly, yes.
Okay. All right. In the BP video, besides the Ford Fusion, the Nissan Versa, and the Audi, did you know any other vehicles of interest that piqued your curiosity in the BP video?
No.
Okay. How about in the King's Liquor video when you see 3 cars driving up Windsor Street? Did you see any other cars that piqued your curiosity?
No.
Okay. Let's talk about the FedEx video. We do see the red Versa go up to the left lane, correct?
Yes, we do.
And we do see what appears to be the white Audi, and especially when you link it up with the BP video, end up in the center lane, correct?
That's correct.
And then we do see the white Ford Fusion end up in the right lane.
Yes,
And we do see the white Audi run a red light, don't we?
we do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you know anything about the history of the attempts on Mr. Stillwell's life?
I do not.
Okay? You don't know that in 2015, a car gunned up behind him or sped up behind the car that he was in and riddled the back of that car with bullet holes?
Objection, he said he doesn't know about any of this.
Sustained.
Have you ever heard the name T.R. Jones?
No.
Okay. Anyways, you see Mr. Stillwell run that red light in the white Audi.
I do, yes.
And then you see Mr. Nichols in the Ford Fusion run the same red light.
Yes.
Okay, cool. In that video, we see I'll get there in a second. Let's talk about LPRs. Detective Bender helped you with the LPRs in this case, correct?
She did, yes.
And you consider this an important part of police work because you're able to track the movements of specific cars.
Yes,
And you, at that time, felt that the white Audi was a suspect car, correct?
I did.
And you wanted to track its movements.
yes,
And you thought the white Ford Fusion was a suspect car.
I did.
And you wanted to track its movements.
I did.
And Detective Bender was able to get you all that information about the movements of those cars, or I shouldn't say the movements, but different places in time and different times where the LPRs picked up those license plates throughout those 2 days that you ran them. I believe it was 2 days.
Yes, whatever she found, she was able to identify the tag numbers and the cars and where they were, yes.
Okay. As lead investigator, besides the Versa, besides the Audi, and besides the Fusion, did you ask Detective Bender to run LPRs on any other specific cars that you may or may not have seen in any of those videos?
I couldn't ask her to run something I didn't see, and there was no other cars. No,
No other cars that piqued your interest?
no, sir.
Okay. All right. You were able to obtain the rental agreement for this Audi, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're aware that Mr. Stillwell rented this car on 3/14 at approximately 3 in the afternoon?
Well, let me check. Yes. That's correct.
And you are aware that he gave all of his personal information, his license, his signature, his phone number, his address. He appeared on surveillance at the Alamo. He did all those things while renting that car.
Yes.
And you're aware that in the early morning of March 16th, which would be 2 days after this incident, Investigator Viverito and Investigator Flores spoke to him in the back of a police car after the house he was in was shot up, correct?
Yes.
And they took pictures, right?
Yes.
And you're aware that he told Investigator Viverito, yes, that's the car I'm driving.
He did.
And you're also aware from the Alamo records that later on March 16th, 2022, he actually called Alamo to extend his rental on that car until March 20th, correct?
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. Could you look at your investigative summary, if you would? And I'm going to refer you to page 19.
Okay.
Okay, does page 19, it's page 19 of
Oh, yes.
25.
Yeah, at the very top you're talking about?
I'm about 2/3 of the way down. Do you see a notation, 16 March 2022, 1337, Shannon wants to extend the rental, or the rent?
Yes, I do see that.
Okay, and then at 1337, they talk about a rate, and then Shannon agrees.
That's correct.
Okay, so under your theory, my client appeared on video at the BP with this rental. Is on video shooting man out of the driver's side of this rental. And then 2 days later is telling Investigator Viverito, that's my car, right?
Yes.
And then also later on March 16th, seeks not to get rid of this car, but to extend the rental.
It appears so, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, let's talk about gunshot residue. Gunshot, you testified earlier in this case, and we talked a little bit about gunshot residue, right?
Yeah, we did.
And you said you got to be careful about gunshot residue because of the false positives.
Right, yeah, you could be
Okay.
anywhere in the room. If a gunshot goes off, we all in here would have gunshot residue on us.
Right. We're talking about microscopic particles.
That's correct.
That are expelled out of a vehicle, out of a firearm when a firearm is shot.
That's right.
Okay. And these particles are expelled in a way that you just said, if someone shot a gun in here, we could all have gunshot residue on us.
That's correct.
Okay. And that would be unfair if I shot a gun to say, well, you have gunshot residue on you, because that would be a false positive on you.
That's correct.
Okay. But gunshot residue does detect if a gunshot was fired in the area, correct?
Yes, it's evidence that a gunshot was in the area, right?
All right. Especially in fabrics and cloth and things of that nature, correct?
That makes sense to me, but I'm not an expert on it, but yes.
Okay. Well, those type of materials would not be subject to something like hands, where you could sweat the gunshot residue off, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And in this case, that FedEx video that you viewed, we see traffic lights, right?
Yes,
We can see brake lights, correct?
yes,
We can see headlights, correct?
yes.
What we don't see is a muzzle flash, do we?
No.
Okay. Now, you testified about shell casings,
Yep,
and you said you looked all over for shell casings on the scene.
we did, yes.
And shell casings are the cartridges that are expelled when a gun is fired.
That's correct.
Okay, and there were at least 2 or 3 shots fired just from looking at Mr. Drinks' the red Versa, correct?
At least, yes.
Okay, so you were looking for 2 or 3 or possibly more shell casings on the road, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and you didn't find any.
none.
And your conclusion was, of course, maybe you missed them. That's always a possibility. But the other possibility, as you stated in direct, is the person who's shooting the gun didn't put the gun outside of the car where you would see a muzzle flash. The gun was actually inside the car when it was fired, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and certainly if the gun is inside the car, that would cause gunshot residue to be spread throughout the car,
you assume so, yes.
including the headliner, correct?
Yes,
Okay. You decided to collect the headliner.
say again?
Well, let me ask you that because I don't know that for certain. You worked along with CS crime scene technician Antoinette Green to process this car, correct? The car being the Audi. Mr. Stillwell was arrested
Yes,
on March
I'm
17th.
trying to recall. This is not in my report. I knew you were going to, but I don't. Do you have anything to refresh my memory? Do you have a crime scene report with my name on it? Because I don't.
I don't have anything written by you, sir.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, but let's try to work through this. On March 17th, you know that Mr. Stillwell was arrested
Yes.
on the warrants that you brought on March 16th.
Yes,
Okay, and he was arrested in Atlanta. He wasn't in another state or anything like that, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And when he was arrested, he was actually still in the white Audi that he had extended the rental for, correct?
yes,
Okay. And the Audi was collected as evidence, correct? Brought to police impound.
that's procedure, yes.
Okay. Are you not aware that crime scene technician Green, do you know who Antoinette Green is? Is she a crime scene technician with APD?
Yes,
Are you aware that she processed that car?
I don't recall for sure. I know I've done several cars with her before, but in this particular case, I don't recall being with her to process the car.
Understood.
This particular car,
Do you recall a headliner was collected in this case, correct? You do know that.
I do not.
You don't know that the headliner of the Audi was collected as evidence in this case and analyzed?
It makes sense that it would be, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't recall that, no, sir.
In your experience, your expertise as an investigator, a homicide investigator, a headliner would be a very appropriate piece of the car to collect to check for gunshot residue.
Again, yes, sir, it makes sense. I'm sorry, I don't recall it.
And it should have gunshot residue in it if a gun is fired from within that car, correct?
If it has not been cleaned, yes.
Okay. All right. Do you know, as we sit here today, whether or not a GBI analyst tested that headliner for gunshot residue?
Do not.
You don't know what the results are either, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. You took out warrants on March 16th, 2022 at 6:39 p.m., correct? For my client as well as Mr. Nichols and Mr. Farley.
Yes, well, 6:40 p.m., but yeah.
Okay, 6:40 p.m.
On the
And that
16th, yeah.
And that was right after, or shortly after you had that conversation with Investigator Viverito in police headquarters, where she identified the people that were in the BP
That's
video.
correct, yeah. Her,
Okay.
the Sergeant Belknap, yes.
So once you had an identification from the BP, that's when you move forward with the arrest warrants against Mr. Stillwell.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, well, I want to talk to you about your analysis of the FedEx video. You have your report in front of you, correct?
I do.
Okay. At the time that you swore out these warrants against Mr. Stillwell, you had never even viewed that FedEx video, had you?
I don't think I got that till afterwards. I did speak with a representative who described it to me and sent me some still shots.
Okay, and I'm gonna go to page 14, going into 15 of your investigative report.
Okay.
On page 14, going to 15, you write, as of the writing of this report, and this report was written on 3/20/22, correct?
Well, that's when I started it, but yeah.
Okay, so you started this report 4 days after you you obtained the arrest warrants for Mr. Stillwell.
That's correct.
You started this report 4 days after that. Okay.
Yes. But
And-
this part, I had notes and all that stuff, but yeah.
Understood. And you say, as of the writing of this report, the actual video from FedEx has been requested via a subpoena, but has not been received. The above pictures were sent to me by a FedEx corporate officer who told me that he had watched a video which shows that the 2 white cars pulled up alongside the red Nissan, forming a straight line across the road. And then suddenly, the 2 white cars sped away against the red light, and the red car stays in place. That's verbatim from your report, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your report is accurate to that fact.
It is, yes.
You, at the time of writing this report, and certainly at the time of bringing out warrants against my client, you had not watched that FedEx video.
No.
But you had spoken to someone at FedEx corporate that sent you some still pictures, correct?
That's correct.
And had told you what they felt they saw on that video, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Who was that FedEx corporate officer who analyzed this FedEx video?
I don't remember.
Do you know that person have any law enforcement training?
Not familiar with it.
Okay. Do you know how many times that person watched that video before giving you his or her conclusions about what the FedEx video contained?
No.
Okay. When did you finally receive the FedEx video?
I don't recall exactly when I got it.
Do you remember what month?
No, I don't remember.
When did you remember when you first watched that FedEx video?
I've seen it several times, but I don't remember when I first saw it, no.
Was it months after bringing out these arrest warrants on Mr. Stillwell?
No, it wasn't months. It was a few days probably.
Well, a few days would have been 4 days afterwards you started writing this report, and you didn't even have the FedEx video then. So could it have been longer than a few days before you watched the video?
It could have been, yes, it could have been.
Okay. And of course, you brought those warrants on March 16th, 2022, without any gunshot residue results from that white Audi.
That's correct.
You said you saw a car in that video, the FedEx video. Ms. Hilton, could you play the FedEx video for me? Thank you. And it can be 101:20. We can start. I think it's fair to say you saw a car making a U-turn on the video and you saw it was a little odd.
Yes.
It piqued your interest?
Well, it just, yeah, it did. I wouldn't say piqued my interest. It just went with the situation, I guess.
I think you said you thought, on direct, you testified, you thought that the person driving that car may have heard or seen something, correct?
Yes, I did.
And the reason you say that is because that person driving that car abruptly made a U-turn.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. If we could go to 101:20, yeah, just. That's that's red Versa pulling up, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that would be the white Audi.
Yes,
And that would be the white Fusion pulling up on the right lane, correct?
that's correct.
That's not the car that makes the U-turn, is it?
No, sir, I don't believe so.
Okay. And Mr. Stillwell is now running the light. He's no longer there, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. We see. Now this car pulls up. It makes an interesting U-turn, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your determination is maybe they did that because they might have seen or heard something, correct?
Maybe.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
I sped the video up so it could go faster, but I don't think Shannon did this, and let me tell you why. There's Drink's car, there's Shannon, there's Nichols. They're all sitting at a light. Nothing suspicious going on. Simone wanted us to concentrate on the cars going by in front of them and not this speeding car that's getting ready to come up to a red light behind Shannon and them. Shannon takes off. The other car tries to take off after this car pulls up. Look at Shamel Drink's brake lights. They start flashing on and off because he's trying to leave too. And this car makes a U-turn trying to get away from the shooter. Why is that car still on the side of this car? And why are they not a suspect? Still there. Come on now.
Riding on this road all alone. God take your soul. You owe your own. But the shark flies straight. Bruh, that was ugly. That was ugly. That was bad. I ain't gonna lie. That was so bad that I'm watching it like,
Stop! He's already
Get up! Get up! You got this shit!
Get up!
I'm like, victory, bruh. Victory, 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 victory. V for victory. No more V for vendetta. No more. No more. No more. We used the November 5th speech that he said, y'all know that November 5th speech that he say, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plots. I see no reason should never be, no, whatever. I know how to do the V thing now. So if you want to, in view, humble for the villain, veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. Anyways, bruh, that was bad. That was bad. To his credit, he took it like a champ. He turned it a little woody up there. I don't recall. I'm like, bruh, come on. You mean to tell me you didn't even search the car to even see if it was gunshot residue? And this is what I talked about the other freaking day. And I said, Murdoch murdered his daughter. I be messing up, bro. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Y'all pray for my memory, bro, because it's obviously going bad. No, he murdered his son and his wife, so my bad on that. For those who corrected me, no harm, no foul. I went 1 for 2 on my predictions. I thought Kamala Harris was gonna win, but I said Trump win. I'll say this for the nation. Republicans, y'all better deliver. Y'all got the House, y'all got the Senate, y'all got the executive branch. If y'all don't deliver in these 4 years, I don't see how another Republican gets elected for another 12 years. I just don't. But we'll see how that goes. But right now, as it stands, bro, I ain't gonna hold you. The Republicans better do their thing. I'm not here. First off, I'm country first, so I don't want, whether Kamala would have won or Trump won, I'm country first, so, bro, I hope they succeed in their economic plans. But that ain't what y'all here for. Whew. No court tomorrow. No court Monday. It's Veterans Day, so shout out to all the veterans. We got motions and stuff Friday. I will be in court on Friday, so you will see me there. I'm trying to wear a big yellow t-shirt so I look like a rotten brown banana. Bruh, let me tell y'all something. Quamarius Nichols, and Jeffrey Williams, so far as I see it, should still be on trial. They would be going home in a couple of months at max, with no new felonies, no anything like that, and it's all good. Now, I get it. You risk a lot to chance. You risk so much to chance that sometimes, and I will tell y'all, and y'all can call me out for this, I did say if I'm Young Thug, bruh, hey, man, listen, just go home, bruh. Take your ball, go home, bruh. I know what everybody wants you to do. Your kids need you, and I stood on everything that I said. But even when I said that, I was wrong. But I didn't know. So Some people were talking about the person that was walking. I think you leave that for closing. I seen Nick at night say that and everything like that. And I'm sorry, I gotta disagree with her. That might raise my child support now because I said that, but it is what it is. No, you save. There's certain things you have to save for closing, and that to me is one of the closing things that you had to do. You couldn't. The freaking examiner literally said out her mouth, she can't tell you the way in which the gun was at, how far the gun was, or anything like that, which brings in a multiple shooter theory. It could have been the other car, which was the exact same color, and then the boom goes the dynamite part was, hey, bruh, you didn't see nothing light up in that car. I am telling you guys now, as a person who, whenever I get a little bit of money, which is like once a year, taxes, I go to the gun range. I go rent one of their little cheap guns, the little 22s, and I go have fun. And I shoot. I pew-pew. But as I'm pew-pewing, before I get there, I see other people with firearms. And when they pew-pew, there is fire from the nozzle while there are lights on. So you mean to tell me while it's pitch black? Hell nah. Matt Sharp, I am sorry. I doubted you in that chat, man. My apologies. You got more money than me, so I'll only charge you half for lunch when I see you. But, bro, what a tremendous day, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm so glad, and I'm not saying this because we still on pace to make as much money as we've been making and all that crap, which really ain't that much money anyways. I'm not saying that for the views or anything like that. But, bro, when I told y'all this was the perfect trial, I meant that crap because sometimes you got to fight it out. I'm sorry, Young Thug. You said take it to trial. You never said take it to verdict. But if I'm Yak Gotti and I'm SB Shannon Jackson, who they say that he's married to somebody, I don't know, so I don't really care who's married to who. I don't make relationship stuff, and I don't make whatever exploits somebody got going, whether you sleep with women, whether you sleep with men, trans women, I personally don't care. So if people are married or not married and anything like that, it's interesting, but that ain't nothing that's going to be on my channel. But either way that go, if he is married, shout out. You got 2 W's, 2 of them. But share to keep your people aware, subscribe, turn on that bell, stay notified, and I will catch y'all in the next one.